Hi everyone, this is Yana, and today I have a rather unusual video to share with you. I recently did like a test video with the new Spellbinders ink pads for my Ukrainian readers or viewers, and then I thought that maybe my English-speaking viewers would also like to learn about these new ink pads from Spellbinders. So instead of doing a voiceover, I decided that I'm going to shoot just another video and quickly tell you about all the properties of these new inks from Spellbinders. So these inks are from the Spellbinders Celebrations line by Richard Goray, and this line not only has dyes, it also has some stamps and dyes combo. There's also some pattern paper and some cardstock. It's a great line, and you should check it out if you haven't yet done so. Anyhow, today I will be talking about the ink pad. So these are hybrid inks, and they combine the best properties of the dye and pigment inks in one ink pad. They are fast drying. They do not have the chalky residue the one that you get from the chalk inks, and they do not fade. You can use these Spellbinders inks not just on paper, they're going to work on other surfaces as well. You can stamp with these inks on fabric and wood, on acrylic, and a bunch of different surfaces. And in order for them to become permanent, you will need to heat set them with your heat tool. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, now before we start testing these inks, I wanted to talk a bit about the colors. There are 13 different colors in this collection, and there are some bright colors and also a black color. So you have your yellows, you have cotton candy, which is sort of like a pink, then you have the delicious orange, which is obviously an orange, you have a captivating coral, which is also more towards the pink, and this is the color that we are going to be testing. Then there's the pixie play and the luscious lime, which are green colors. Then you have the cool Caribbean, which is a really nice blue. Then you have the sea spray and the lovely lavender, which is the blue, and then the lavender purple-ish color. And then you have the pretty plum and the blackberry. So those are all the colors of the new Spellbinders Celebrations line. Now, because like I said before, these inks combine the properties of dye and pigment inks, you might think that there's basically no yellow or like no purple in here, but in fact there is. It's just that if you take the properties of a dye ink, you would know that the ink pad of a dye ink usually looks a lot darker than the ink itself. And take this captivating coral ink in particular, it looks pretty much like a red kind of ink, red color, but when you stamp it on paper it looks completely different. So don't be fooled by the color of the ink pad itself. Do look at the little circle they have there. If you're shopping for these inks online, Spellbinders has some great images. They have a photo of an ink pad, and then they have like a little circle cover about the colors of these ink pads. Now, I also wanted to share a bit, or to talk a bit about the size of the ink pad. Now, I do have some other ink pads here just to compare the different sizes of the different ink pads and to show you that this ink pad is actually a rather big one. So here I have some inks from Tsukinak, and I'm just going to open them up to show you how how they compare in size. So basically, the Spellbinders ink is bigger than ink from Tsukineko. So here I have the Memento, I have the VersaFine Onyx Black, and it is bigger. Let me show you just one more time. Okay, it is bigger. And I also have the Clear Snap Colorbox Pigment ink, so it's also bigger. The Simon Says Stamp dye ink is exactly the same in size. So the size of the ink pad and the packaging is just about the same. And the packaging itself is, I would say, pretty much the same as the Simon Says Stamp dye ink. It's just that the lid here is see-through and here it's not. These ink pads are stackable, and they easily stack on top of each other. They won't move to the sides, but they will, sort of like slide like this, but they stay nice like like so. Okay, so to do my testing today, I'm going to use a piece of paper. Now this is just regular white cardstock. It's actually Nina Solar White cardstock, and here on this side I have all of the images that I did for my Ukrainian video, so never mind that. I'm just going to repeat this again and show you all of my testing and all of my experiments on this side here. Now I am going to use the Captivating Coral ink pad because that's the one that I have opened, that I have open. And let me just get these out of the way. Okay, and now we can start working. Now I have selected a couple of stamps for my stamping today. I have a solid cling stamp to see how this ink works with solid stamps. I have an outline a clear outline stamp, and I also have a solid clear stamp, and I will explain why I need all of these stamps in a minute here. So first I'm going to take my outline stamp, I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it on my cardstock and see how this ink works with outline images. And I pretty much like it, you know, it's a nice crisp impression. Okay, now I'm going to take my solid stamp, ink it up, and and also stamp it. And I once again have a nice impression. It's nice coverage and I quite like it. Okay, next I want to see if this ink is waterproof, if it's going to run from water. So I'm going to make another impression. I'm going to spritz this with a bit of water. Okay, I'm going to use a brush here. Now I have already done this before, so I pretty much know like the end result, but I still wanted to share this with you, so that's why I'm doing it again. And this ink is waterproof. Now what this means is that you can actually use this ink with your distress markers, or with watercolor, or with any water, sort of like water medium. If you want to color the stamped images, or if you want to paint on top of them, you can use this ink for that purpose. Now, I also wanted to see if this ink is suitable for heat embossing, and I'm going to tell you right away that it's not. It dries pretty quickly, so you won't be able to sprinkle any embossing powder on top of it, and you know, have it wet enough so the embossing powder would stick. You can see here that embossing powder didn't really stick to the image, so I would say that this ink is not a good one for heat embossing. It does have some other great properties that I absolutely love, and I'm going to share or continue sharing those in a minute. Now, I also want to test how fast this ink is going to dry. So I'm going to stamp, I'm going to use my finger and try to smear the image, and it doesn't smear at all. My finger is clean, well, relatively clean, and the image remains nice and crisp. You know, I didn't smear any ink. I stamped it and it dried almost instantaneously. Now, another thing that I want to know is if I can use this ink with alcohol-based markers, you know, like Copic markers or American Crafts chromatic markers or other kinds of alcohol-based markers. And I can already tell you that I can, because I have already tested it here. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to use a Copic marker. And please never mind my horrible coloring, because I'm trying to be in a hurry here, kind of, you know, trying to make this video as short as I can, because I know it's going to be a long one. So I'm just going to smear some color on top of this image, and as you can see here, it doesn't really smear or run, or, you know, it stays nice and crisp. So the good thing is I can not only use it for coloring images with distress markers, but I can also use my Copic markers or other alcohol-based markers and color the images stamped with the Spellbinders ink. Now, the last part that I wanted to check or to verify is is if this ink stains clear stamps. You know, some inks, some dye inks, they really stain clear stamps. They stain them really bad. So I wanted to see if this ink would stain my clear stamp. So that's why I have this solid clear stamp, so that this way I can check if it's going to stain it, and I can tell you right away it's not. So I really love it because it doesn't stain my clear stamps. You know, maybe just teeny tiny bit, but actually no, I don't see any ink residue left on my stamp. I think it's pretty nice and clear, so that's a definite plus in my book. And here you can see the difference in color. You know, it does, when you stamp it, it does look a little bit brighter, and then when it dries completely, it looks just a teeny tiny bit not as bright as it does right away. And here I'm going to open up my ink pad, and you can see the difference in color there. So the ink pad looks darker, but the stamped image looks a lot lighter. Now I did get a little black ink transfer there. So, but your ink pads are going to be nice and clean, so never mind that black spot over there. So that's all for today. That's all that I wanted to share with you, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.